Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're doing It Came From The Network. Topic of this It Came From The Network, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, one of the old Coliseum videos that can now be found on the WWE Network or Peacock depending on what part of the world you're living in. This was released, I believe, late in 1995. All the matches on here are from that time frame, basically covering Diesel's WWE Championship run, or WWF at the time. Much like other videos that they've put out, this is just strictly Diesel matches, which is cool in my opinion because I'm a big Diesel aka Kevin Nash fan. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, I do grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Let's go right into the review. We start off with our host for the show, and we get Stan Lane, aka Sweet Stan Lane of the Midnight Express. I thought that was pretty cool because it's one of those things that gets overlooked a lot is Stan Lane's time in WWE, and it'd be easy to overlook. He didn't do much of anything there. The guy's an absolute legend. I love seeing Stan in here. It made it feel different. Most of these are a little bit older, so you'll have Gorilla Monsoon or even in this era, maybe Todd Pettingill hosting them, so it was cool to see Stan Lane on this. We start the video off match-wise with Diesel going up against Bret Hart. This comes to us from Royal Rumble 95. And I'll say it right off the bat, this is my favorite match on this video. It's also the match that gets the most time on the video. They give this about 20-25 minutes out of a 55-minute video, and I can tell you right away what people that don't like this video are going to have issues with. The pacing in every match is a lot slower than what we're used to nowadays, and it was slow to even that time frame. Personally, I don't have an issue with that for two reasons. I do try to adjust these to the time frame. Sometimes it's hard to enjoy something from this generation. The second thing is I will take great ring psychology over great pacing any day, so I'd rather have a slow, methodical match with great ring psychology than a fast-paced, exciting match with terrible ring psychology. And there's not to say that I don't enjoy both styles. I like the car crash matches. I do like these as well. When you get something like this with two guys like Bret Hart and Diesel, Kevin Nash, who are consummate professionals, Bret probably led this because we're still early in Nash's career here. They give you the time to register and let everything breathe. So while a back elbow may not look as bad to 2023 eyes as it did in 1995, you get the opportunity to register that back elbow hurt. Whereas nowadays, and again, I'm not knocking, someone will do a moonsault, get up, and within 3 seconds they're doing a 450, getting up again, going into a tiger driver, and then getting a kick out on it too. And before your brain could register the moonsault, we're already 3 moves ahead of that, and we're already getting into a comeback. Like I said, I really enjoyed this match. I think some people will have an issue with the pacing. Ultimately, we get to the end of the match, and basically the heel locker room empties out to beat up both guys. We get Owen Hart, Mr. Bob Backlund, Jeff Jarrett, and the Roadie, who would go on to be Road Dogg Jesse James, and Shawn Michaels. So basically we end up with a draw, a double DQ. Other than that, which I get why they did that, especially knowing what I know about how the championship run ended. It makes a lot more sense now. I do dislike the draw endings in this case, but it did make Diesel feel more important, and it also made it feel like Bret was still a threat. I'm giving this one a 4. Like I said, it's probably my favorite match on this show, on the video cassette, so it was enjoyable to me. That's followed up with a Diesel versus Jeff Jarrett match from Monday Night Raw. I don't know the exact date, and they didn't put it on the screen, so I didn't bother looking it up. Again, this was really fun. You're going to notice on all of the matches except for one, Kevin Nash is in there with what is considered a great worker, this being Jeff Jarrett, who, even to this day, is one of the best workers in wrestling. There's a lot of similarities in the way that Jeff Jarrett works and the way that a Bret Hart works, or even a Shawn Michaels works, that makes those characters work so well with Diesel, that make those wrestlers have great, compelling matches. They know how to sell for a big man, and they know how to pace it so the big man looks more dangerous than he ever could be. Ultimately, Diesel does pick up the win here. I thought this was a good match. Not quite as good as the first one. I'm giving it a 3. Then we get another quick breakup with Stan Lane, basically to break the monotony. And also between every match they're showing little highlights of Kevin Nash. And yes, I'm gonna go back and forth between calling him Nash and Diesel. I do apologize. Stan introduces us to a match that was just recorded for this tape, and I gotta say, I wish it wasn't. We get Diesel versus King Kong Bundy. This is Bundy while he was in Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. This is by far the worst of the 5 matches on the video, and I don't think it's really either man's fault. I think the blame for this falls directly at Vince McMahon's feet. This is the kind of thing that Vince McMahon loved. The giant tall guy versus the super heavyweight bigger guy. And by this time, Bundy was already past his prime, and even in his prime, he wasn't what was known as a great super heavyweight worker. I mean, we're not talking about Yokozuna or Bam Bam Bigelow or even Big Van Vader. We're talking about King Kong Bundy, who, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Bundy. He's a legend. He just didn't have it here. And Nash was early enough in his career, again, that he couldn't really carry a guy that didn't have. The finish of the match comes where Nash does like a jumping, diving clothesline instead of the jackknife, because obviously he probably couldn't lift somebody that heavy, or at least he couldn't lift them without there being potential of danger. Diesel does pick up the win with that jumping clothesline. I'm giving this one a 2. It's barely above garbage, but I could have lived without it. That's followed up with a match from Action Zone, which is a show that probably a lot of people forgot. We get Diesel versus Owen Hart. So we've seen Diesel versus Brett, a face versus face match. Now we're seeing the evil Owen Hart, and I love Owen. I really do. I think he's great. I think he's one of the better wrestlers of all time. But this here, again, it was a really solid match. It was a good match. I wouldn't say that this was either man's best match, and I'd be willing to bet that they have better matches against each other. This is a good match. Again, ultimately, Diesel does pick up the win here. I'm giving this one a 3. Like I said, it was good, it was solid, there's nothing wrong with it, although there's nothing right with it either. There doesn't come a time where you think this is an awesome match. It's just a match that if you were to watch it now and I came back to you in 3 days and asked you about it, you might forget everything about the match because it was just there. Then we get into the final match of the show. It's joined in progress, so we get the last half of the match. We get Diesel versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11 is one of those shows that's widely panned as one of the worst WrestleManias. I get why it's derided. I do think that this was a really good match, though. I would say that this match, if we got the entire match, which I've seen, and probably you have as well, I've seen it multiple times. It's a very enjoyable match. If we were able to get the entire match, I think it might be my favorite thing on this video, but since we're just rating what we have on the video and only getting the last half of it, we didn't get the beginning build-up. So there's a little bit of the story missing. It's like if you watched a movie about Muhammad Ali and they skipped his life as when he was Cassius Clay and just brought us in. He was already the world champion and already changed his name to Muhammad Ali. You would lose a lot of the build-up to how he got there, which is what we lost here. This is another really good match, and anytime you have any of the Clique members in this time, Diesel, Razor, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, X-Pac, or 1-2-3 Kid as he was at the time, any mix of those guys in this time frame, and you can even throw in Jeff Jarrett and Bret Hart and Yokozuna as well. You throw those guys in and you have any mix of that, and you're going to get a pretty good match. Even Undertaker. I didn't mean to forget about you, Undertaker. You were great too. I think Undertaker actually got better after this time frame, but he still was having decent to great matches here. That top tier of the new generation was really solid. People malign it, but I think they malign it because they remember more of the bottom parts of the new generation, the Sparky Plugs, the Duke the Dumpster Drozies, stuff of that nature. This is a good match. I failed to mention that Michaels did have Sid as his bodyguard, which I believe Sid turned on him after this, either right after the match or on Raw the next night. It's been a little while since I watched the WrestleMania 11 match, so I don't know if they cut it off of the video or it was the next night. I honestly forgot. If you know, hit us down here in the comments. Obviously, Diesel wins the match because Michaels doesn't live out the boyhood dream till the next WrestleMania. I'm giving this a 4 again. It's my second favorite match of the card. It probably would be my favorite if it was the full match. All in all, I thought this was solid. Again, I will put caution, if you're not a fan of a slowly paced match, this is not for you. If you're a fan of Diesel, Kevin Nash, this is a video for you to watch. It does represent a very specific time frame in his career, 1995. Much like the video I did last week represented 1986 for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So there is a really nice time capsule of that one specific time frame in one guy's career. But it can be argued one of the most successful times of his career. Between that and obviously his runs as WCW champion and part of the NWO, you gotta put that right up there. Overall, I'm gonna give the show a 3. I thought it was good. I would say it's skippable if you're not a Kevin Nash Diesel fan. If you are, go back and watch it. That's definitely what's going to influence your opinion of this. If you're a fan or if you're not, it's definitely going to influence that. With that being said, smash the like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and if you see where it says join, that's how you become a channel member. Becoming a channel member definitely helps me out here. I would appreciate it if you considered it. And with all that being said, if you made it all the way to the end, let me know your favorite Kevin Nash / Diesel moment, whether it be a match, a promo, the one that a lot of people are going to put, obviously, the NWO formation. Leave it down here in the comments. My name is George Coles, and this has been another It Came From The Network.